Hello and welcome to the show. We are back at the Endurodrome with 3 more vehicles being driven till destruction, starting with a pigeon. Yes, this is the 1973 pigeon, so slightly rebodied style of vehicle that is going to try and survive for as long as possible around here. Now, I have had a bit of fun with the engine. Yes, that is a supercharger on the pigeon. It's probably about as fast as you're going to get the pigeon. Certainly with the combination of mods I have installed, it's about as fast as we'll get the pigeon to be going. It might be good for it trying to survive around here. The difficulty that we have with the pigeon, while previous series it did very, very well, or a version of this has done very well at the Baja Rama circuit, around here, the pigeon's front wheel is suspect is probably the kindest word I can use to describe it. Suspension wheels take a battering at this circuit, and, well, when that front wheel goes, you lose all steering. So, we're going to have to try and hope that, importantly, we're going to be fast enough to jump across the worst of the rocks. Sadly, oh, that's already twisted the front wheel. That's the issue. I think actually maybe it was always the speed bumps that do worse damage than some of the rocks around here. If the vehicle happens to roll, I am okay with that. Rolling pigeon is probably better than pigeon landing on that one very, very important front wheel. Now, we'll be able to avoid speed bumps in some places, but there are bits that are simply unavoidable. Oh, don't go wandering over there. We might have fun and games getting through the mud pit. Here we go. Well, I mean, I did say rolling pigeon is not the worst thing in existence. Do we still drive out of here? We can. Okay. Well done, pigeon. You will dig yourself gradually, slowly, but you will dig yourself out of the mud pit. That's something. My fear, the rock pit coming up here is going to be a nasty one. If we get the wheel caught, if you can find that perfect little groove through, well, there kind of. Oh, that doesn't get the wheel caught, we might be okay. Like that heavy landing's not too bad, I don't think. Although I don't really know. The suspension on this is pretty strong. It's pretty tough to kill. The actual suspension on it. It's landing on the wheel that is the concern. Oh, there goes the chrome. Oh, I've lost my number plate. The chrome bumper's coming off. It's all a bit of a gone wrong. The Windows is half out. Sure, you know what? Let's not worry too much about the window hanging out. That's, again, that's the least of our concerns, really. Are we going to fall over? Nope. Oh, this is... Thinking about sections that we're coming up to, this is going to be a bouncy fall over. We're going to spend more time, I think, on our side or on our roof than we are driving along normally down here, aren't we? Oh, I'm losing steering. The chrome has gone off at the front. Oh, one chrome bumper down. Can we... Oh. Can we make it... Can we survive with the rear chrome bumper and the chrome fenders, etc.? I mean, the good news for Pigeon, and I shouldn't speak too soon, of course. We know what the curse of the commentator is like. But the good news is, the front wheel, after initial hit, I think it's actually been twisted back a little bit towards where it should be. So it's not that bad on the steering front. We are pretty fast, so we should be good to make it up here. We do make it up there. Oh, that... I mean, that looks nasty, is actually not too bad. As long as I didn't take the radiator out. Oh, we're stuck on a barrier. That doesn't matter. We can get the node grabber and free the pigeon from that. I mean, it does look like bad things have happened to the car. It looks like very bad things have happened to the vehicle. However, there could be worse. There could be worse. We've bent the chassis quite a lot. We've made it more aerodynamic, because that is the important thing when you have a pigeon. It's the first thing you notice about it is the terrible aerodynamics on it. Not the wobbling and falling over, or the one wheel that might get buckled because of landing on jumps and speed bumps. No, it's the terrible aerodynamics. They're the important things, and we have corrected those immediately, so that's good. Oh, that's the speed from this thing is mad. I have, because it's got a improved engine, it's got a much more performance-orientated engine than normal. I have given it a better spec radiator, so while it will still overheat if we puncture the radiator, it won't overheat on its own, or hopefully won't overheat on its own. Fuel tank, I mean, I am seeing the fuel tank at the back, on the underside, and that is always a concern. We've seen a couple of vehicles. It's rare around here, but we have seen a couple of vehicles go out from having a punctured fuel tank. When you hit a speed bump like that, for example, with the back of the car, it is possible to rupture the fuel tank and then have all of that petrol disappear out of the engine, or out of the vehicle. So yeah, we're gonna hopefully not have, I think we've probably got enough suspension travel at the moment. I mean, an unlucky hit anywhere will kill the vehicle. However, I think we are, well, mostly okay. Come on. Unlucky hits can take out just about anything in a car. Even the strongest of cars can get killed from one unlucky rock. So, yeah, a rock to the fuel tank, sorry, would not be good. A rock to the radiator would also not be good. Oh, we're going to roll the other way this time around. Sure, this game can not go badly for us in any way, shape or form and have us end up, you know, breaking radiators or, again, something important. At least, well, the rear wheel axles seem pretty strong, although we're going to test that, I think, when we do. We should go for acrobatic points now. There are no bonus points around here. While it's tempting, there have been some very impressive stunts from cars as well. There are no bonus acrobatic points, Pigeon. Don't worry about trying to go for those. I mean, so far, again, don't speak too soon, but so far, that front wheel is holding up very well. We do pull to the left, but no worse than we did after, well, the first time we hit a speed bump. So that's good. That's good news for the Pigeon. It does look very second-hand. We've started to split the tailgate. I don't quite know. I mean, the bed, I think it had a slightly odd texture to it anyway, but I definitely think we've managed to help fold it around a bit with some of these crashes. At the rate we're going, I think we're going to bow the chassis. I think we're going to end up getting the bloody middle of the chassis to touch the floor soon. Here we go, towards the big jump. We are fast enough to make it, and we clonk back down on the landing. Quite nicely done, actually, for the Pigeon. Mind the potholes, although then the speed bumps are going to be nasty. We got away with that. Very helpfully, we hit the first speed bump, and that put us up into the air, so we didn't actually come crashing back down on the second one. Well, this is a much more impressive performance. This is a much more impressive performance from the Pigeon as we head towards a third lap for the vehicle. Now, be careful across the... I do think that in some ways those speed bumps are the biggest threat we might come across with this, unless, well, a very big roll, because those bounces there are not actually, they don't bend the wheel. They're not bending any of the wheels in this, because it might break the suspension, but the suspension is very tough on the Pigeon Hill. We've seen these go through all sorts of things in various series and still be working, and they've fallen off mountains in rally series. I mean, one of the very few vehicles that could survive those falls and still drive. If anything, my steering's gone back to being what? We're 3 laps in and I've fixed my steering. It was pulling quite badly to the left. Now it's almost dead straight. I think there is still a faintest pull to the left. That's not quite how this series is supposed to work, car. Somebody didn't give the Pigeon the memo on how cars are supposed to disintegrate around here, because it's not. It's not falling apart in the normal, expected manner. Oh, through the mud. I mean, we've done a bit of damage, more bodywork damage really to the car. Has that actually now bent? That might. Oh, that has bent the steering a lot more than I realised. So we unbent the steering and then we've bent it again. I think. That's killed the radiator. Woo! Might have got that node grabber on a lot higher than I realised. Just playing around with some heavyweight vehicle. I played around with one mod that had a very heavy vehicle that didn't want to move, and I guess I must have forgotten that I hadn't readjusted that. So, whoops for that. I mean, it actually didn't do any more damage, amazingly, to the car. It didn't do any more damage than was already done to the Pigeon. Okay, so we have got... Yeah, okay, so we're now back to heavy steering damage. We have taken out the radiator, so we are going to overheat. Steering damage, I mean, you can live with it, it's just when it's not expected. When unexpected steering damage is a little bit of a pain, because you think you line the card up for something, and, well, it is very quickly not. does mean we will have a little bit more of an iffy time trying to position the vehicle towards the main jump. The fastest jump and the one that does require a decent amount of speed to get across. Oh, there we go. We might lose the bed at the rate we're going. The bed might fall off before the engine gives up. It's a sturdy engine. It is a very, very sturdy engine. I will give it that. It's gone through a hell of a lot of punishment. And this is where we're going to have problems now, because I need to be going fast, and I've lost the back end. Oh, well. I mean, the punishment for missing the jump is that we kind of rolled it, and I guess that probably did do some damage as well. Oh, now we're starting to get sort of that nasty shockwave effect through the car as we hit stuff. Has it actually bent the steering? No, okay, it's still quite bad. It can make... It has bent it back a little bit. The trick is to hit the speed bumps in just the right way that we managed to ping the steering back the way it's supposed to go. Either way, a much more impressive showing from the Pigeon as we head on to a 4th lap now. It's uncharted territory for a 3-wheeled vehicle around this course. Hell, not many vehicles have actually made it this far full stop. So we might fall over while turning. But it's such slow speed, doesn't actually risk damaging the vehicle whatsoever. And also, with the radiator gone, I don't know what the damage was that we did to the radiator. Sometimes you can be lucky, and you'd have to be very lucky, but you can be lucky and get away with just a small puncture on the radiator. So it might be only a slow leak. For a second I thought I saw the drive shaft part. I mean, I think I did see bits of bodywork and bits of important chassis and driveline poking out the side of the car, but that's more because it was clipping through the flapping bed than it was actually broken. So that's good in as far as, well, keeping the vehicle moving. Of course, this is rear-wheel drive. We lose the drive shaft. That will very much be game over. I think they are very, very difficult to kill in the Pigeons. Oh, we have done too much. I was going to say oversteer, but that's not... I was trying to... fight around with the steering too much. It's now very easy to steer too much because you're trying to counteract the car's natural want to turn left or turn too little because you're busy trying to counteract it and don't, basically. Steering screw-ups are eminently more plausible here. Ooh, that's a big hit on one of the rear wheels. The poor chassis of this is getting buckled more and more. Now, there is... Don't worry about it slightly sinking into the floor. There is some little iffy mud terrain around there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know... We could, again, it's another very, very rare failure, see an actual chassis bent to the point where the car can't drive. We've seen it from a couple of cars in this. Generally quite difficult to do. Temperature's barely moved from having had that radiator leak. So that's... I mean, there's good news for the Pigeon in terms of longevity as we... bounce around some more. Come on, Pigeon. Don't fall over. There we go. Everything is fine. The front is... Yeah, I mean, it's still iffy. Guess we'll see what we have going here. So, basically, I've got to be pretty much flat from this corner all the way down and not lose the back end while it goes light over the bumps. Yeah, it's like there, for example. We're going to take this jump all sorts of wonky. That was very low, maybe not quite so lucky. It was kind of lucky at one point. It's now gone considerably less lucky. Oh no, I think it might have... Has it... Oh no, the bed is going to get caught on everything now. Oh, this isn't good. This is bad news for the Pigeon. This is bad news indeed for the Pigeon. Oh, we lost a wheel! We have lost a wheel on the Pigeon. It's gone. Be free. You will make it further than I. You will make it further than I. And I think everything's dragging on the floor so much we can't even roll down the hill. I wondered if the bed being like stuck inside the chassis was going to give us grief. That's not quite the grief I thought it might give us. That's not quite what I expected to see from the Pigeon. I mean, Look, if you're going to go out in style, and that one was a pretty spectacular... It was a spectacular run. Hell, that was much more like what we wanted to see from the pigeons. They have proved in the past to be very, very strong, and that was taking an absolute battering. In the end, the steering was starting to get funky, and one too many rolls led to a lot of damage with the bed tangling with the wheel, and, well, there we go. That is the pigeon no longer moving. But a good show indeed. Up next, we have got a truck. Yes, the T-Series is going to have another try around this circuit. This time, a kind of car transporter variant is going to try a very, very big overhang at the back. Probably not quite as much weight, though, as we saw from the box truck. Possibly. Either way, we shall get it going. Wow, there's apparently more than enough power to spin the wheels like a lunatic off the line. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen if the bed starts falling apart. Like, I don't know how that's going to affect this vehicle, which is kind of part of the reason why I wanted to run this over just a normal T. It's more fun. It's more fun running the trucks with extra bits and pieces. A little bit more difficult to see where I'm going with the front of this, not going to lie. But, whoa, there we have it. Now, the heavyweight vehicles have a somewhat checkered past when it comes to this series. While, yes, a truck is very strong, they are also very heavy. And that extra weight, the momentum and the forces that go through the chassis very often lead to a snapped drive shaft, and very often early on. I don't think anything's ever really made it. I mean, the box truck did quite well around here. And in its attempt, it got unlucky with a wonky landing. But that was still... It died on its first lap around here. It survived the big jump with a massive crash. But, yeah. In general, these trucks have issues with the weight and with the drive shaft letting go. Now, perhaps with this whole, like, car transporter bit on the back of this, that might actually stop the flexing that we perhaps see to an extent. Although it might also get caught on stuff. So, yeah, it could go either way, really. I think we've got some iffy steering occurring currently, which is not really ideal. There's a bit of battering going on at the front, a bit of clonking. We're going to lose the bonnet. That's least of our concerns, really, with this. I tell you what, it is being shaken around, and currently it is all okay with it. How is our chassis doing? It looks a little bit bent. Oh, that's not good. I got massive oversteer in my truck. That's bad news for us in terms of making this jump cleanly on the first attempt. Come on, truck! Oh! Wow, that's very lucky. That's very lucky for the truck. Oh! We are going to fall over. No, we saved it. We saved it, but we had to go and visit a tree. Okay, it bounces around quite a lot. We've lost the radiator. We haven't lost the drive shaft. The bigger concern for me is the steering is quite buggered. There is something also poking through the back, so I don't know at what point broke that. That was just being shaken apart across those bumps, and I don't know at what point. I don't know whether the truck going into the tree snapped the steering, or whether it was snapped already on its voyage towards the tree. Now, if we can make this landing, which we do, we will make it further than the box truck version. Ooh. It does still have steer. Like, the important thing is we can still smoke the tyres. I guess that's something. The important thing is we can still steer to the right. Radiator is gone. Don't know what I don't know what the overheating is like in these. We've never seen one of these trucks last long enough to see what and how they would fall apart. What will go on these when driven long enough? Because the drive shaft's always gone very, very early on. So if this does go out from anything other than drive shaft, I'd be surprised. It's looking like it might be steering, because this is fiddly to drive at best. I'm going to have a tough time. I guess we made the jump. We made the jump having had a big oversteer moment, so we might be able to make the jump fighting the steering. However, on the dirt, it's easy, especially on the dirt in a decently powerful vehicle. Like, there's power and torque, and apparently not much in the way of rear-end grip. This might... I might have trouble getting this lined up for the jump again. It's likely that the steering issues are just going to get worse. They're not going to get better. Well, I guess maybe if whatever we tweaked, if we snapped it back the other way, like we were doing with the pigeon, it might happen. I mean, it's kind of good that it's tweaked rather than fully snapped, I guess. That's something for us. There's a small morsel of comfort right there. But it does make it easier to make another silly mistake. Oh, like heading up towards this at a wonky angle. Oh, Christ, that's a bit sketchy. But we are still good to carry. Oh, the whole back of this is... Will we go the whole way with the car transporter actually still on the back? I don't know if the bed part can fall off. I presume it can. We lost a box. I don't know what that box is for or what it contained, but it's no longer on the truck. That's actually, we lost another one after the jump, so had 2 boxes. We are now minus 2 boxes. Christ, this thing can really shift. This thing can really shift. Oh, keep it out of the trees. Okay, I mean, that's not ideal. We will have to pull you out with the node grabber, because we will not reverse you out. If it's stuck in the trees, it won't reverse out. There we go. We are... Oh. No, never mind. I thought we were in a worse shape than we were. It's, I mean, not great, but we are still... We are still drivable, at least. The axle... Well, the rear axles is at a funny angle. I think the rear axle... I'm not sure. Is that touching the ground? Or maybe it's just the camera angle and the lighting. Never mind. I thought it was not touching the ground, but it does seem to be okay. Very careful going in here. I do not want to go out from a silly steering mishap. We have done something to the front. Have we collapsed the front left suspension? I think we have, actually. I think the whole front left suspension's gone from that landing. So that looks like, when you turn it looks like it falls over on itself, almost. So, I'm not changing up gears, I'm busy looking at suspension. Certainly doesn't look... Yeah, it doesn't look like it's doing the same things as the other side. It's not... Say it's collapsed, it's nowhere near as bad as we've seen from a number of vehicles, but it's definitely not right. Either way, the fact that a truck has got this far is very, very good going. Oh, something else fell off. I don't know what it was. Something chrome, I think, pinged off. Oh, I'm struggling with turning. We're really struggling to get through these chicanes now. It's a question, what's going to give first? Are we going to lose the drive shaft because the chassis is too buckled, because it is looking buckled? Or are we going to lose the steering? Or maybe both, like both sides are... I think it might just be that it's pulling so badly to the left. Might just be that they're pulling so badly to the left. They don't look like they're really sat in there properly anymore. They're held on by not very much. So... That's fun and games to worry about. Temperature-wise, I've not got any concerns. I guess it will technically kill the truck eventually, but apparently these take a long, long time to overheat. So that's, yeah, a little concern compared to the rest of our issues. It does not look like it's bouncing across the rock pit as nicely. It's not really going... Oh, we're in trouble going out over this way. I've lost steering. I mean... Say I lost steering, I took a jump and we were angled off into the fields. Have we still got... Oh, we have still got steering to the right. That was just a... We were committed to the jump, and it, just as it got to the last second, fired itself off to the left. So we're lucky we didn't end up in any of the rocks. We're lucky we didn't end up in any of the rocks over there. I mean, it was a rock over that side that killed the Covert V6R4 down there. It just took a landing and took out the front suspension, or pushed the front suspension all the way back into the car and made it undrivable. So yeah, we have got... I mean, the bonnet is coming off. The steering is increasingly difficult. The chassis does not look healthy. We should still be... I mean, we are fighting the steering a lot. That's not great for the truck here. It's a big hit. It's a massive hit on the landing. It's fine with it. It is amazingly all okay with that. Somehow, the truck is still just about making it. So we'll make it into the petrol station, no problem. The concern is making it out the other side. Oh, I think we clipped a tyre on the metal pipe that does puncture tyres. There we go. We are still good through all of that. It's still turning just about enough to the right to get it through. There we go. I mean, if we nudge the concrete, that's fine. Considering, again, like, problem-wise, we got bigger problems than lightly nudging the concrete. It's like the rear tyre with the puncher. I mean, I'm afraid that is literally of least concern to us here currently. That's not going to do much to... In a normal road car, yeah, that will slow it down. We've got enough issues with steering slowing us down. Oh, making it difficult. I think we've brushed the... We've got to be careful with like brushing the containers, because something like that and the front wheels in their quite delicate, quite poorly state. I'm not sure if much is holding them on, really. Wouldn't take a lot to snap the steering off entirely. And you can just about see when we turn the wheels that way. You can just about see the very thin little tie rod that is holding that front, or is doing all of the work, pulling that front wheel around. And... well, there's a lot of truck repeatedly crashing down on that front side. Although I'd probably be more worried about the front right than the front left, because I'm having to... because of the way it's steering, I'm constantly... or it's either pulling... mostly the time pulling to the left. So if I'm not counter-steering it right, I think we're going to land on the front right quite heavily. There's a potential to... oh, there goes the bonnet. We have now lost the bonnet in its entirety. Can we still get into the shed? We can. I mean... the radiator is looking quite precarious at the front. I mean, oh, the radiator is going to fall off. That felt bad. Oh, I'm really struggling. Oh, to get the truck back under control there. We have fired the bed of the truck back. We have actually lost the radiator in its entirety. We clipped the sign with the bed, which has now launched that a long way back. That's not great news for us. Great. Now, is this going to get caught on everything? Probably. When we try and take a landing, what an... oh, no, the radiator is still attached. I thought we had lost... I thought it had actually fallen off for good. It is still attached at the front. Oh, the front looks very low, but I think that's just because it's missing everything. Don't clip a wheel on something, because I think if we touch anything with these front wheels now, that may well be us in trouble. I can get away with clipping it with the rear wheels, but those front wheels, oh, it's really difficult to steer. Nope, there it goes. There is what's left of the radiator off of the truck. Now, I've got to be able to get through these under my own steam in terms of steering. Now, I bopped the wall, so I think it's... I bopped the wall and that fired us wide, so I think it is fair that I continue to drive. It wasn't so much from the lack of steering, it was just from the misposition of the truck. We hit the concrete, it punctured one of the left-hand side tyres, and yeah, it just fires you... it fired me just slightly wide, and then we couldn't do it. We are going to have more and more difficulties, though, I suspect, going towards this next section. It's still got an alarming amount of speed. In some ways, that's concerning. The amount of speed this thing can pick up in its very, very broke. I mean, it's good for the jumps, I guess. It's good for the jump that we can still get it up to speed quickly. We can still get it up to the, let's say, required speed, but we'll still make it safely. Does not look safe, this. It doesn't look long for this world, but it has looked like that for a while, and it's still going. Have we got any... just trying to figure out if we have got any... I guess there is something else connecting the front wheels. Oh, truck! Wow, that's the pull from the steering. Yeah, there is a lower, I guess a lower sort of suspension arm still connected for the bottom. No, I'm going to have to go the long way around, aren't I? We're going to have to go. Just trying to be a bit lazy. Come on, through the gears with you. Through the gears and climb. There we go. Spin the wheels in fourth. Yeah, it leans a lot if I'm steering, but again, I've just got to deal with it. It's temperature. The temperature is actually now starting to creep up. That temperature will maybe play a part if somehow this doesn't give up from... oh, there goes another bit of chrome. Oh, is that the stairs? We've lost the stairs. Stairs gone on the left-hand side. There are no stairs. I guess another thing that we might I wasn't really thinking about it, but the fuel tanks on this are, I presume, these silver drums that we have on here. Now, it's unlikely, but I guess we could see them knocked off. They aren't exactly in the most secure position. Punctured fuel tanks would lead the vehicle to stop, I guess. Having the bed shunted back has made very little difference in any of this. It's not actually been getting caught on anything differently like that. I guess it is supposed to as well, because it's supposed to be a movable thing. Oh wow, I'm having real trouble steering this. Oh, that's not what I want. Don't hit the wall. Don't hit the wall. Still it lives. One of the fuel drums is now quite precarious. One of the fuel... I don't know how the fuel works for this vehicle, but that is now hanging on by a thread. Please don't fall off and get set on fire. That would be bad if we lost the tyres. I mean, the fire... Oh no, fire has actually changed a little bit, I think, in a more recent update, so we might see a different outcome. The radiator just steaming away in a field. Now, I've got to be very careful. So, one of the difficulty of this now is I can't really see where the bed just takes up all the space. Can't really see where the wheels are. But never mind, we are through and it's on to another lap. I mean, if this doesn't stop, if this doesn't go out, it could... I think it would beat the Miramar before it overheats. Possibly. I don't know how quickly... Again, we've been seeing how quickly the temperature is going up, and that's not much. But when it gets to the top, I don't know how fast it will break the engine. If it's at the same pace that it currently is, then there is a genuine chance that we could do it. There is a genuine chance, and it is still a very, very poorly truck. It's not like it's got to this stage unbattered. It has certainly not got to this stage unbattered. The chassis is actually not looking too bad. I thought it was bowed earlier, but it doesn't look too awful. The steering is in a horrendous condition, and that is proving to be very, very difficult. I thought I was in high gear. So, yeah, I would not expect this from the trucks, I shall be honest. I never expect to see a truck go this sort of distance. They never have in the past. And while this circuit is generally kinder in terms of less drive shaft, killing crashes, this is more about the... Oh no! I lost the steering. I just couldn't pull it back to face the right way. And that's everything shattered in one crash. Oh, god damn it. We were bouncing along and I was steering and it wasn't the steering enough. That is the issue with heavily, heavily damaged steering. It's amazing it lasted this long, I shall be honest. As I was saying, this circuit is generally kinder to the drive shafts. It is generally kinder, and while I think it was just engine that we lost in that crash. I'm not sure if we lost... no, it was drive shaft as well, actually, we lost in that crash. Doesn't show up on the little icon. Yeah, steering damage is a constant thing you have to fight, and unfortunately, we did lose. I think we've done some damage to that... The front rear axle, I think we have done some damage to, possibly, those wheel positions. Yeah, that's a great showing. Either way, that has actually killed the steering. The steering, regardless, now doesn't steer back. We've tweaked the steering rack so much it doesn't work. It's a hell of a performance. It is a hell of a performance from the truck. Unfortunately, steering damage, in the end, just too much to deal with lap after lap. And, yeah, simple bounce and mistake into the wall would take the heavyweight out. So on to our leaderboard, and we have a new leader. Yes, the T-Series has gone to the top of the table. Did not realise it quite at the time. The distance counter is rather inaccurate on some of these vehicles, but yeah, it was a hell of a feat. It was a hell of a journey for that T-Series to yeah, make it that far. Unlucky, it had heavy steering damage for quite a while, and it was actually getting quite close to overheating as well by the end. But yeah, once you start getting the steering as bent as that, it is increasingly difficult to drive. It's also an impressive performance from the pigeon. That will go into a 15th place, which is absolutely not too bad for that vehicle. It beats the Malaga, beats the Montgomery, the Blackfoot, the Grand Marshal, the Legrand with a caravan, and so on. Not many vehicles can make it onto that lap number 4. So yeah, to have done as well as it did, and it was a bit of an unlucky death for the pigeon. That is yeah, good going for the 3-wheeled vehicle. That though is going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. I shall also, of course, link all mods used in the description, so you can download them and have a go with them if you would like. Until next time, though, goodbye.